weekly human development interview, and today we shall learn more about reconciliation and how to reconcile polarized groups and get them sitting on the same table and trying to understand each other's points of views, as well as listen and achieve a form of national reconciliation. We're joined this morning by our human development expert in the studio, Mr. Hossam Fahmy. Very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Now, right before we went on air, we were having this little discussion on how can we reconcile with a country that has become so polarized and opposite groups that are not willing to sit and listen to each other or to negotiate with each other before their demands are met, and it's like we are in a deadlock. So how can you describe the current situation here in Egypt?
Exactly. In your question, you said they're not willing to listen. So the key is to listen. When someone is talking and he's trying to explain his position and why he's thinking so, the other person should listen attentively and put himself in his shoes, because he wants to understand what is his point. So the problem when we say a word and we start to assume and mind read the other person that he is talking about this and this and this, and then we start to interrupt. And with interruption, you create more resistance, and people start to shout because they want to prove their point of view. You're not listening to me, so I will higher my voice to make my point clearer, and the other person wants to do the same also. So it's becoming a debate rather than a conversation, and it's not constructive anymore. It is destructive, and it is as if if you're not with me, then you're against me, then you are an enemy. So I am talking with you with a map in my mind that you are an enemy. So we're not. This is our country, right? So if we're thinking that if we disagree in a point, it doesn't mean that the other person is someone who's against the best will of the country. It means that he has a different point of view. But we don't see it like this. We see it right and wrong.
But Mr. Hossam, like you said, the important thing is to listen. But I mean, what if we're in a phase where that isn't even an option because we're in such denial, and it's just it's just refused? I mean, the whole concept of if you disagree with me, then you shouldn't even exist.
Exactly.
This is actually becoming, and the polarization isn't just happening in Rabaa or Nahda or Tahrir. It's happening in homes and houses between sisters and wives and husbands and friends.
That's
so how can we kind of get past that? Because this is very crucial, really.
Okay. So when I'm talking to someone who's against me in his point of view, the frame of mind that I should have when I'm talking to him is accept the difference. We should. It doesn't mean that in a family that we all have to have the same point of view. It's okay to have differences in opinions. This is natural in human people. So, but the problem is that we do not accept differences. We want people to be like us. If they're not like us, then it means that they are in the other polar. So we'll not listen to them.
Sir, do you think that what we're going through in Egypt is about point of views and differences, or is it facts that we're dealing with? I mean, it is a fact that the president is deposed. It is a fact that the Muslim Brotherhood are down. It is a fact that Egypt, there's a new Egypt now. Do you think that what we need, as I said earlier, in the upcoming period is more facts to be conveyed so that, or revealed, so that the supporters between the opponents would know really what is going on? Because, you know, people, the anti-Morsi supporters or the anti-Brotherhood supporters, they are aware of where this is coming from in terms of the supporters. I mean, a president that was democratically elected by ballot boxes and the majority, we understand that. But the point is there are facts that forced 33 million Egyptian citizens to go out on the streets on the 30th of June and protest against this regime. How do you see that happening in the upcoming period? Do you think maybe that could be a step towards reconciliation that we're aiming for?
Yeah. So the problem is the people who see it as a fact in their map, in their head, they see that their point of view is also a fact. So a person is talking from a standpoint that this is a fact, and how can you deny it? So where this came from? It came from how we program our minds to see things as if they are real. So the distinction is your map of reality, how you see reality, actually is not the reality. It is only your map. Maybe your map came from the people that you are following, the media that you are listening to, you are affected by certain models in your life, so you take their words as facts, and whereas there are other opinions, there are other things. So we are accustomed to take things as granted from a strong reference. So we call it maybe a sheikh, then this is a strong reference to me. So whatever he's saying to me, I take it as a fact. So whatever other people says to me, this is not the fact. So I deny it. So it's not easy to shake these frames of mind because they've been built through many years. As you said, it's important for the government to be transparent and expose some of the evidence-based things that they have found, and they want to disclose it to the public, because this is important for us to know and others to know what are the facts.
So this still leaves us with the question how to coexist. At the end of the day, there are differences on the street, differences in homes and between people and friends. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to easily be convinced, and I'm not easily going to convince the person that I have differences with. So the question is, what equation can we work on to coexist in the same community or in the same society or in the same circle of people without reaching a level where people are now fighting and no longer speaking and leaving work? I mean, there's a lot of tensions, really.
One of the things that Dr. Stephen Covey in his book, the famous book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, mentioned about communication, one of the key habits is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So when I'm listening to you, I'm seeking to understand your point. When I'm doing this, there is empathy. So I'm listening to you. When you do that, eventually what will happen, barriers will go out, and there will be a rapport between us. Then when I'm doing this to you, if I'm listening to you with empathy, you will start also to listen to my point. What I see in debates and in programs and TV shows, people are fighting and they're hiring their voice because each one wants to prove his point right. So there is no empathy. There is always anger in the tone of voice that you're not right, you're not conveying the truth or whatever. So the other person will reflect back the same thing. Another meaningful word that is a presupposition in the field of NLP, saying that the meaning of your communication is the response you get. People think that the meaning of their communications is that what they intend to tell to the person. No, the meaning of your communication is the response you get from the other person. So if you're not getting the right response, it means that you need to calibrate with the other person to understand why he's thinking like this, what is his map of the world, how he sees things, so that you can calibrate with him and tell him your point from a standpoint that is closer to what he understands.
Okay, unfortunately we ran out of time, and we do hope that people would reconcile, because it is for the benefit and the interest of all Egyptians to work together in going out of this crisis. Mr. Hossam Fahmy, human development expert, thank you very much for joining us on the Breakfast Show today.
Thank you very much. And I guess with that, ladies and gentlemen, we wrap up this edition of the Breakfast Show. Yasmin, thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Angie.
And thank you to all our viewers. Do join us again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Breakfast Show. Till then, it's a very goodbye.